I think it's going to be a good one today, Levon. I think yesterday we felt the kind of emotion we haven't felt in a very, very long time. And that is, what's the word? Hope.
Hope, man. There's always hope. There's always hope.
More hope.
Yesterday was more about just happiness. Period.
And you were there at the stadium. I mean, we're
I
obviously
was.
about Ansu Fati's goal. That's where we're starting. That's what we're talking about. We're beginning with Ansu Fati on the rundown for all those who weren't watching or living under a rock yesterday. But you were there, right? What
I
was the feel? What was the yeah? I mean, what was the energy there after that goal was scored?
No, the energy was pretty good the whole game. Like not just after the goal was scored. Because people lost, like we all lost their mind. I was sitting next to a Brazilian guy who lives in Lisbon, and it was his first time in the Camp Nou. Um, and whenever I go to the Camp Nou, the place is so empty. I pretty much go and sit wherever I want to sit. And then he was like looking for a good spot also, and I was like, oh, come sit with me, and we watched it together. And where am I going with this? All right, the energy. He actually recorded me after Ansu scored because he was like taking a lot of videos. And I should hit him up because I have his number, so I should hit him up for the video, and I can see my reaction because I'm pretty sure I cried.
Yeah, well,
Like my eyes were wet. Let's put it that way.
well, to give something special for our podcast listeners, if anyone was joining me on the FC Barcelona official Twitch page, the feed that we were using from our producer was a bit grainy. So I was actually using my own ESPN feed on my computer. And so my feed was about 5 seconds before the feed that we were watching along with, right? So as the turnover happens, as he turns and as he's dribbling 1v1, I'm like watching the other screen. I'm watching, my screen that's ahead. And as the goal was scored, I put my hands to my mouth because I now have to wait for my co-host for 6 seconds to see it. So you'll
Oh
see
my
me go
God.
like this on the feed. And for those, I mean, I'll probably put this in the watch. So I put my hands up to my mouth because I didn't want to just yell or I basically hit it. And then I mean, my wife said it's completely sociopathic the way I did this. I internalized that emotion and then relived it 6 seconds later with everybody else as if I was watching it in live time, which is, I mean, so I felt like I lived it twice. But to me, it wasn't even that he scored the goal. It wasn't about all the fanfare of the debut, but just watching from afar and the emotion of what that meant. Sure, it meant everything for his debut, but the goal itself, that's what I want to speak about. The fact that, yeah, the bounce was lucky that it kind of got into his path and he was able to turn on it and then sprint upfield. But every fear that we had, I mean, who knows what it looks like over 90 minutes? We don't know if he's match fit, but we do know that you can't unlearn some of the things that he knows how to do. And that is to take a run with the ball, to change his pace, wait for the defense to collapse, see the run from Memphis, get the ball on his left foot, bring it to his right. But instead of waiting for the defender to readjust and try to spin it around the defender, he hits it so quickly and so well, low and hard as the defender is turning. There's no shot that the goalkeeper has. It also shades him. I mean, the goal itself was, I mean, better than advertised. The goal itself was so good. And I mean, I think if anything, that's what I can't seem to, in my mind, as excited I am to see Ansu back. I mean, to make his return, yeah, that's all emotional, but the goal itself was like, oh, not only is it's almost a reminder that Ansu Fati is the number 10 shirt at Barcelona for a reason. The club almost backs up the fact that he's wearing number 10 because he can do things like that. I mean, if Luke de Jong did that, our eyes would fall out of our heads if he had a goal like that.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to say that you should have called the goal because you would have looked like the man. You shouldn't have held back. You should have called it 5 seconds before they scored.
Well, I did call it. That's what that was a sociopathic part. I called it as if I was watching it in live time. So as I watched
No, you
the
should have
turnover,
called it 5 seconds earlier.
that's what I did. I went Ansu, and like as I'm calling it,
Okay.
right. So yeah, for those who are watching on Twitch, maybe even go and check that out. My wife clipped it because she's like she wants people to know that I'm a little off my rocker. But anyway, yes.
Um, about Ansu, what I liked most was there was just a fearlessness about him from the moment that he got on. He was not afraid of going in and going hard. He was not afraid of challenging for the ball. He was not afraid of getting fouled. The other thing is that he looked really fast.
Yeah.
Like he looked faster than I remember him being. actually, because speed has never been his greatest weapon. It's more his timing and his positioning and his finishing. But he looked fast. He was not afraid of changing directions at all, which is something that, if you're afraid of your knees, then that is something that you might be a little bit more careful with. And yeah, his goal was fierce. His goal was just fierce. I mean, and we've talked about this earlier. The biggest challenge for our club is to make sure that Ansu Fati stays at the club, and him coming back after more than 10 months out and scoring within 10 minutes shows exactly why, man. That was just amazing. And I can totally imagine Messi watching that goal and feeling a bit sad that he left to Paris. Not blaming Messi here for leaving,
Right.
but I can imagine Messi seeing that goal and with some regret, with a tinge of regret, for not being here to live that moment with our future.
Yeah, and even the picture afterwards and the reaction from his teammates. Throughout this post-Messi era, there are going to be this watershed moments of these landmark moments in our minds. Like, so for me, that first goal that Piqué scored in the post-Messi era, if you will, was so huge, because when that goal was scored on the header, I felt like, okay, that's the first breath, that first exhale we get to take in the post-Messi era. And then Memphis scores his first goal, and it's like, oh, okay, there are other attackers, there are other forwards in this team in the post-Messi era. And then this goal from Fati it's not even a handing of the baton, a changing of the guard. It's that there will be talent at FC Barcelona. It's going to continue on. We're okay in the post-Messi era. And Fati, and it's not just Ansu, but you saw when Memphis was making that run on the left side, and there was a combination even before that, about 2 minutes before that, prior to, when there was a combination with Memphis and Ansu. And it was that first taste of, hey, it's that reminder that it's not just all the expectations on Fati, but the partnership with Memphis and Ansu this year between the left and the center, whoever wants to be wherever they want to be, because Ansu scored that goal straight down the middle. I mean, number 9, number 7, number 11, who cares? It doesn't matter. It's all about position and fluidity, and can you be in that defensive shape when you turn the ball back over? But if you put the ball in the back of the net, you don't have to worry about that. And so Ansu going right up the gut to score that goal while he really was the left winger and Memphis had moved over to the 9 doesn't really matter, because when that run was made, when all that conspired, it was Memphis out wide, getting his positioning correct. And I mean, if Ansu hadn't scored there, it wouldn't have been an assist to Memphis because of just how wide open Memphis became because of the space that Ansu creates. And that's kind of what I had said with Kevin early in the week, that the base minimum, even if Ansu didn't come back we still can't say he's 100% because he's still not 90 minutes match fit, sure. But if he's even 80%, the fear of Ansu Fati around La Liga, what everybody knows that he's physically capable of that Luke de Jong isn't, it opened up so much space for everybody else. And so a lot of those misses for Cadiz that Memphis had, which were disappointing, but he had to get them right. There's so much more space and time now with Ansu, just the gravitational pull. It's also going to open up space on the wings too. We talked about Dembele and Ansu out there. You just saw in those 10 minutes that, Serginho Dest, who we'll get to later, the space that he had when Ansu came on the field, because now instead of shading over a little bit, expecting Coutinho to cut into the middle or, being able to get into their low block shape, now you always have to have 2 defenders out wide to deal with the overlapping fullback and Ansu Fati. Every time. 2, and then that third defender, that center back, always has to keep one eye out because somebody is going to need help between Dest and Fati, or Alba and Fati, whoever it may be. And it's a numbers game. And as simple as it is, Ansu makes football easier for FC Barcelona just by existing, just by being what he is physically at 70 or 80%.
Right, because Braithwaite and Luke de Jong up front don't really install fear into the hearts of a defense. What I do think is interesting here is that Memphis and Ansu Fati seem to have a genuine connection.
Yeah.
Both on and off the pitch. Like I think Memphis was posting pictures of the 2 of them together on his Instagram and whatnot. You also saw like when Ansu scored, you saw how excited Memphis was for him. Which is kind of cool because Memphis is like the new guy on the squad, but everybody always talks about how well he fits in and the positive vibe that he brings to everybody. And you saw that he was genuinely like super excited and super happy that Ansu scored. There was also another part which might not have made the broadcast, where Ansu Fati was warming up on the sidelines, and the crowd was yelling Ansu Fati, Ansu Fati. And there was this moment where Memphis was also on the sidelines because of I don't remember if it was a corner or a throw in, and he looked at Ansu Fati, and he also
That's
clapped
great.
along with the crowd. It was just a little moment, but it was just very, very cool to see. And I think that in the team, it looks as if Memphis and Ronald Araujo have adopted Fati.
Right. And ironically,
So,
Araujo is only 3 years older than than Fati anyway, or three and a
yeah,
half
but
years older.
yeah,
But it
but
doesn't matter.
that guy is the heart of a lion, man. Oh
I
my
know.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
to
no.
the Ansu thing, let's bid us in the broader picture, right? That I don't think it was, and people say dangerous, right? As if me speaking English, and I don't know how well Ansu Fati speaks English, but I don't think Ansu, for all the people that listen to the show, thank you, but I don't think Ansu is one of our listeners. And we wonder about expectations and speak about expectations. And I kept saying throughout the weeks and the months recently, even with before Messi left, that Ansu Fati and his recovery and what he could be when he returned was going to be the key to Barcelona's season. And I mean, obviously, the key to their next 5 to 10 years at this point. And yeah, there are new talents coming up every year, but Ansu is just that important and just that special. You could tell not only by the records, but he is that special. And so the expectations, and we always say, oh, we have to be careful about the expectations you put on him. But not only is the number 10 jersey, yeah, it means something. I already made a YouTube video about how the number 10 until Ronaldo and Messi didn't really mean much at Barcelona. Sure, Maradona wore it and Kubala a little bit, but the point stands. But the point is, what can Fati handle as the expectations for him on the season? And I don't think with Memphis up top and with some of the other players like a Pedri, even like a Gabi being 17, I feel like there isn't the pressure and won't be the pressure on him behind the scenes to be the number one player. And he can just be that soft number one player for Barcelona. But I think at this point, at this juncture, I can rest my head on the fact that Ansu Fati is Barca's maybe not best player, but most important player. And the expectations for him to be Barca's best player, I don't think aren't that crazy, because for this squad this season, it's actually not hard for him to be that best. I mean, be the best player. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I got that. That didn't make a lot of sense, but please make some sense of what I said.
I think Ansu Fati is doing a terrible job at lowering our expectations.
There you go.
Like, he's completely failing.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if we have to talk about in terms of best player, because best player can mean so many things.
Right.
And is he still 18?
He'll be 19 October 31st.
He'll be 19 soon.
About a month.
I mean, Messi was our best player when he was 19. And Ansu Fati, as special as he is, he's still not Messi. Nor will he ever be, nor should anybody ever
no one ever
expect him to be. But he's pretty darn special. And I think most people will be happy if he stays healthy. That's the concern right now. He'll have he'll score goals. It's okay if he doesn't score every week, because it's not like, yeah, he has Memphis. Hopefully Dembele will come back healthy as well. But it's not the same being in a team with Messi and Griezmann, or with Dembele and Memphis, in terms of that those expectations and what people expect from the forward line. Like Messi and after that Griezmann will always carry most of the weight on their shoulders, and whatever Ansu did was pretty much a bonus, right? Now he doesn't have Messi or Griezmann anymore to take that weight, so yeah, some of it might be hoisted up onto his shoulders, especially him choosing to wear the number 10. First of all, I think he's ready. He's shown it. Second of all, I think that the team must help, as in if the team plays well, it will help him a lot. If the team is poor, I don't think people will single out Fati for being poor along with the team.
Yeah.
That's the advantage of being 18, 19 years old.
Well, yeah, and I think that's a difference, right? That when we say weight and we say pressure, I think one of the other, I mean, basically what we're saying is consistency, right? That when you have Messi, Griezmann in your squad, you expect consistently, match after match, to go out and have some kind of baseline expectation of performance that's going to get you enough points to probably win the Liga and potentially win other trophies, right? The difference is that with Fati being 19, being the talent that he is, even wearing number 10, he's good enough to wear that jersey. But you're right. The expectation, the pressure isn't on him game in and game out. It's for him to be that talisman over the course of a year and just to be that representation of Barcelona's most important attacking talent and be that talisman wearing the number 10. And so that's the difference, that Fati is going to, you're right, that Fati and the team in general, we're already seeing this season with young players. They put in stinkers because inconsistency is what plagues young players almost more so than individual mistakes, if you will, over the course of a year. So Barca's going to have some bad performances with how young the squad is and what the new core is going to look like as they learn and adapt and figure out how to not only play together, but to take on grown men who, I mean, when they play Real Madrid and El Clasico, I'm really interested to see what the starting ages of those two starting lineups are going to be, right? Because you're probably likely to see Real Madrid's starting lineup average age to be something like 28.5, and then Barcelona's is going to be 23.5, right? Because 34-year-old Busquets and Piqué are going to be out there and going to bring that number way up, or an Alba likely too. So without those three, though, the rest of that starting lineup is going to be a 24 younger, almost guaranteed. And then Messi,
although Madrid also
too,
has quite some young players.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the point. But so I think that
I guess I have Casemiro and Benzema and Modric and Kroos if they play. Yeah.
Right, which and Courtois. So
and Courtois.
I mean,
yeah,
and Danny Carvajal is healthy. So I mean, you get the point. The average age is as I said, 28 or something, because they have a bunch of 30-year-olds they start. So that'll be El Clasico, and the average age will be totally different because at this point, these two teams are different cycles. That said, the expectations now, I don't think change with Fati even coming back healthy. That you still expect the depth and the strength that Barca have as a total squad, as a total unit, they should finish top three in the Liga. And the difference between Messi and Griezmann's Barcelona and this Ansu, hopefully Dembele, Aguero, and Memphis, and Luke de Jong, the difference between those two Barcelonas is that this team still could limp their way to third place, as opposed to fans expecting them to get guaranteed between first and third. But I still think this team is going to limp their way to third because they're going to get enough points over the course of a year.